Alright, so this is overlapping nulls, and the point of overlapping nulls. You're gonna need to know how to do this for like literally any style. So just because in my video I'm gonna use transition, it doesn't mean that it still applies to the other styles like impact and stuff. Alright, so first I'm just gonna show this real quick. It's like 5 seconds. So obviously the transitions here are very smooth. Like that's pretty much undeniable. And the reason why it's so smooth is because I overlapped all of my movements using nulls. Um, and the reason why it's so smooth is because while one movement is happening, the second movement is already happening. And you can see here, this is my very beginning movement, right? Like this little slide. But while that movement is happening, like this one is already happening because it's like in between each other. So, and then it slides to here, and the next one is already happening. And by overlapping a bunch of movement like this, you'll get very smooth, not stiff movement. And if you want to do this type of thing in particular, you need to mark your beats first, obviously. And I have it on every other beat like this. So there's going to be an in for the first, and it's just going to be like an in graph, which I'll show you here. Then for this beat, also it doesn't always have to be this tight, you can change it and stuff, obviously. Then for here, you want to place it in between and have one beat in the middle where there's no keyframes. And where then you're going to use edit speed graph, and you're going to do something like this, and you're going to make this peak onto the beat. That means that it will reach where you want it to reach on this beat right here. And then you just want to keep overlapping it and doing the same thing. So then your next one will be on this beat, and it'll end every other beat. And you just want to keep doing the same thing where you do it like this. You just want to, your peak right here is going to be where your movement will like end up. So mine will end up around here, not directly on the beat, because I realized my beat was a little late. And this also works for impact and stuff, obviously, which I will show in a moment. Alright, so I just pulled up this edit where it's a different style. It's jugg, but I still ended up using nulls. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show the part real quick where I can actually I'll cut it right here. Alright, so you can see my movement is very smooth. You can also use transform, which is what I did for this first part. But you use this for special reasons. But this I didn't. I wanted it to be stiff, so I did not overlap nulls. But if you want it to be smooth, that's when you do overlap. For example, here it zooms out and goes down, and which this is what happens. So I always have my position and scale go to the very end of the clip so that the movement never ever ends. And so if you want to add another position movement, you need to use a null for it. And this is when it overlaps and it becomes smooth, which I just have like a normal out graph for this. Obviously you can change it for it to look good. And then over here, same thing. I have another null here where I have my scale going all the way to the end of the clip. This zooms out and then the null makes it zoom back in. And since the movements are happening at the same time, it makes it hyper smooth. Same exact thing you can see here. My scale reaches one frame before the very end so that it actually reaches the movement instead of staying at like, look, if I move this then it'll just be 105 by the time it reaches, which it won't be shown in the edit. But by moving it like this, it will be shown. And again, same exact graph, but you can see it's very smooth. Where I will just show this real quick. Just very smooth. You need to utilize nulls, especially when you're doing mo graph, stuff like that.